Hi there, Mr. Muhammed is here. We're going to talk about trial and improvement plus using calculator to solve quadratic and cubic equations. It's a very numerical way. This time we're not going to solve it algebraically. We are just going to do it in a numerical way. Numerical way means we are assuming that some numbers are the solution and we test them by substituting, and our responses are like too big, too small, and too close, and sometimes exact. These are the 4 comments that we can give while we solve some questions using trial and improvement. The best way is to make a table. The first column in the table is the value of x. The second column is the equation x squared plus 3x minus 7. We don't have to write equal to 0. And here is your comment or rating to the answer that you get. The question says the equation x squared plus 3x minus 7 is equal to 0 has a solution between x equals 1 and 2. So we work on the numbers that are between 1 and 2. The x's are like this. They are between 1 and 2. So I start with 1.2. 1.2, then substitute 1.2 here. We'll have 1.2 to the power of 2 plus 3 times 1.2, and then the result minus 7. And 1.2 to the power of 1.2 squared plus 3 times 1.2, and then the result minus 7. So this is equal to negative 1.96. Negative 1.96. Negative 1.96 is too small comparing to 0 because we want to get 0 or something too close to 0, like 0.01. Okay, negative 1.96 is too small. Let's try another number. 1.5. Let's see, are we approaching 0 or we are getting more further from 0? Let's check. Then we will have 1.5 to the power of 2, which is equal to 2.25. Then plus 3 times 1.5, which is equal to 4.5. Again, the result will be negative. Let's check. 1.5 power 2 plus 3 times 1.5, the result minus 7. Then this is equal to negative 0.25. We are approaching 0 as 0.25 is closer to 0 than negative 0.25 is closer to 0 than negative 1.96. So here we get negative 0.25. This one we can say it's too small because we need 0.01 is too close. This result is smaller than 0. It's less than 0. We have to comment it as too small. Then more than 1.5. Let's pick 1.8. You are free whatsoever number you pick between 1 and 2 until you get something either exactly 0 or too close to 0. Let's try 1.8. Then 1.8 squared plus 3 times 1.8 minus 7. So the answer is too big this time. It's 1.64 positive. So it's too far from 0. it's too big. And whenever you see an answer is too big and another answer too small, so it means the solution is between them. So let's pick something between 1.5 and 1.8. We can say 1.6 or 1.65 if you want to get more accurate answer. Let's pick 1.6. 1.6. Now 1.6 to the power of 2, 1.6 squared plus 3 times 1.6, then minus 7. This is equal to 0.36. So the last, it's too big. We got too big twice, so we're going to ignore this one. This time we pick some number between 1.5 and 1.6. As you see, when we picked 1.5, we got negative 0.25, which is close to 0. And with 1.6, we got 0.36. One is negative, one is positive, or one is too small, one is too big. Let's deal with the latest too small and the latest too big. A number between 1.5 and 1.6. Let's consider them as 1.50 and 1.60. What's between 50 and 60? 55. Let's try 55. 1.55. Let's see what we get. 1.55 power 2 plus 3 times 1.55. Then the result minus 7. This is equal to 0.05. So 0.05 we can mark it as too close. 0.05 and the next number is 2. 0.052 is too close to 0. But can we get closer? Yes, we can. So as you see, 0.052, it's a positive number, it's more than 0, and the latest number which is less than 0 is 1.5. Then we can try a number which is between 1.5 and 1.55. So between 150 and 155, we can say 153. Then 153, in this case here, what we need is 1.53. Let's try 1.53. It depends on the question where to stop. Here, the question says, find the solution correct to one decimal place. So one decimal place, if we round this number to one decimal place, it's it will be 0.1. So if we get closer, let's see what we get. Between 1.5 and 1.55, we're going to pick, this time we're going to pick 1.53, let's say. 1.53. Let's try this number. Then 1.53 power 2. It's according to the equation, which is x squared plus 3 times x minus 7. Then we have 1.53 squared plus 3 times 1.53. Then the result minus 7. So we got negative 0.06. Negative 0.06. This is a small number, but it's not closer than the 1.55. 0.069. This is too close, but this one is positive and this one is negative. Let's say this is more than 0 and this is less than 0. We can also pick something between them, between 1.55 and 1.53. We can say 1.54 and continue the process until you get a number. When you round it to one decimal place, you get 0. 1.54. Let's try 1.54, and then we're going to solve the equation regularly to show you the answer. Sometimes you can straight away use calculator. If calculator is allowed, then you can straight away get the solution, then do some steps similar to these to show that you follow trail and improvement while you know the correct answer. It just helps you to get the correct answer in a correct way. Well, let's pick 1.54, then 1.54 power 2 plus 3 times 1.54, then minus 7. This one is way closer than 0. This one is negative 0.0084. So as decimal, it's written here in the standard form, but it's equal to 0.0084. So this is the best answer that we got in this table. 1.54 is the closest possible answer that we got using this table. Because when you round this number, the result of 1.54, when you substitute in this equation, you get a number that when you round it to the first decimal place, it's equal to 0. That's what the question wants. Trail and improvement always has the exact same idea as I did here for question 1. Then let's do the same thing for the next question, and the rest will be your homework because they all have the exact same idea. And let's solve this equation using calculator in the ordinary way. So when you are using calculator, especially a functional calculator like this or a scientific calculator, then find the mode in your calculator, mode. In the mode you have to go to EQN, which is the short of equation, and number 5 is equation. The type of equation we have here is x squared plus x then plus a number. So number 3 is the type of this equation. Okay, this a stands for the number which is right in front of x squared. Since here we don't have any number in front of x squared, it means it's just positive 1. Then press equal. B stands for the number which is right before the next variable, which is before x. This is positive 3. Remember to have the positive with the number in front of the x. Then it's positive 3. We don't have to write positive, but for negative we must write, as it happens for C. C is the constant, the number which is alone. The constant is not 7, it's negative 7, it's minus 7. Then we have to include the minus with it. Then C. 1.54 is the answer that we got using numerical way. We could, if we could continue, we would get this number, but it takes a long time. Then since this equation is power 2, it's x squared plus 3x minus 7. So it has two solutions. The first one is 1.54. As the question says, it has a solution between 1 and 2. This one is between 1 and 2. Press equal again. You see the other solution is negative 4.541 and so on. We cannot write this answer for this question because this question wants the solution which is between 1 and 2, which is this one. Then For such questions, when the question says correct to one decimal place, we can just shortcut this number, and instead of writing all the 8 digits after the decimal point, we can just write 2 decimal places with it, and that's it. Question 2, we're going to use the same way. This time the equation is x squared minus 7x minus 9. X squared minus 7x minus 9. Then the numbers must be between 8 and 9. Between 8 and 9. So between 8 and 9, let's pick 8.5 and see how does it work. 8.5. Then we would have 8.5 squared minus 7 times 8.5 minus 9. Let's try it. We can straight away solve the equation, see the answer, then do some steps to show that whoever marked the question, to show him or her that you did some steps following the trial and improvement method. Because when the question is about trial and improvement, the question doesn't focus about the final answer, it focuses on the steps, how you approach the answer. Let's straight away solve. The number before the x squared is just 1, then press equal. The number before x is negative 7, equal. The number which is alone is negative 9, negative 9. So we got all the numbers. Now press equal, it gives you the first solution, 8.109. This is the solution which is between 8 and 9. This is the solution that we are going to get. And the other solution is negative. We can't get the negative solution following this table because what we pick for x is between 8 and 9. Now let's try the 8.5. Let's see how far it's from the... Then to get your calculator back on track, you have to go to Mode and press number 1, Composite. Then here, 8.5 power 2 minus 7 times 8.5 minus 9. It's equal to 3.75. It's too far. 3.75. 3.75 is too big comparing to 0. Then we have to pick something else. Then we can decide, are we getting closer or further? Okay, if we pick 8.3, let's see how this works. 8.3 power 2 minus 7 times 8.3 minus 9. This is equal to 1.79. As you see, we are getting closer to 0, but comparing to 0, 1.79 is too big. Let's pick something less than 8.3. 8.1. Let's see how close it is. 8.1 power 2 minus 7 times 8.1 minus 9 is equal to 0.09 negative. So the last number that we had too big, and this one is, let's say, too small, then the answer must be between these two. Then between 8.3 and 8.1, let's pick 8. The answer must be too close to 8.1 because with 8.1 we got negative 0.09. Then if we pick something between 8.3 and 8.1, it must be too close to 8.1. Then we can approach 0 closer than what we have now. Then what about 8.15? It is between 8.3 and 8.1 and it's closer to 8.1. Let's try it. 8.15 power 2 minus 7 times 8.15, then minus 9. This answer is 0.37. So the answer became bigger. It's too big. Now between the latest too small and the latest too big, the answer must be between 8.1 and 8.15. We can say it's between 8.10 and 8.15. So it could be 8.12, 8.11. Now we can consider 8.1 as 8.10, and a number between 10 and 15 and closer to 10 because it's 10 is closer to 0. And let's pick 8.11 and let's see what will we get. 8.11 power 2 minus 7 times 8.11 minus 9. The answer is too close to 0. It's 0.0021. So 8.11 is the closest answer here. Question 3, 4, and the rest, they have the exact same idea, repeating over and over. It's the same. So let's do question 10, because in question 10 the equation is slightly different from the previous, because this time we don't have a quadratic equation. This one is a cubic equation, but the idea is the exact same idea. The equation x cubed equals 12x minus 7 has a solution between x equals 3 and x equals 4. Find the solution correct to one decimal place. Okay, to do this equation, firstly we have to organize x to the power of 3, 12x minus 7, we're going to send them to the other side to have a proper equation, which is equal to 0. Then 12x will be negative, minus 7 will be plus 7, and nothing left on the side, it's equal to 0. Now this one is easier to solve using the trial and improvement method. The value of x cubed minus 12x plus 7, and then the comment. Let's check. The x's should be between 3 and 4. The first x we pick, we can straight away pick a number in between them, 3.5. And see how does 3.5 work. 3.5 to the power of 3, 3.5 cubed, minus 12 times 3.5 cubed minus 12 times 3.5, then plus 7. It is equal to 7.875. This number is too big to be equal to 0 because our aim is 0. We need to get 0 or something too close to 0. When you round it, it will be 0. Then 3.5 is a very large number. Let's try another number. Let's try 4. You are free whatever number you choose between 3 and 4. Since there's equal with the 3 and the 4, it's okay to pick them. Then if we put 4 in place of this x, we will have 4 to the power of 3. 4 cubed minus 12 times 4 plus 7. It is equal to 23. Now it's too big. This number is too far from 0. We have to pick something less than 3.5. Less than 3.5, let's pick 3.2. 3.2 power 3 minus 12 times 3.2, then plus 7. It is equal to 1.368. We got one step closer to 0, 1.36. Then it's still too big. Less than 3.2. Let's pick 3 itself. 3 to the power of 3 is 27. 3 to the power of 3 minus 12 times 3, then the result plus 7. This is equal to -2. This is too small. Then the solution must be between the latest too big and the too small. It's between 3.2 and 3. Let's try 3.1. 3.1 power 3 minus 12 times 3.1 plus 7. This is equal to -0.4. So we are closer. -0.4. -0.409. Now we need a number between 3.2 and 3.1. If we try 3.15, we are getting way closer to 0, and the closest number is the answer. Then how can we solve this using calculator? How can we directly solve this equation? To solve this equation, we're going to go to Mod, then go to number 5, Equations. And the type of the equation here, it's a cubic equation. The highest power of x is 3. Then we must pick number 4, ax3 plus bx2 plus cx plus d. We need to press number 4. Okay, what is a? A is the value which is right in front of x to the power of 3. The coefficient of x to the power of 3 here is 1. Then press equal. The coefficient of a is the coefficient of of the x to the power of 3. B is the coefficient of x to the power of 2. As you see in this equation, there is no x to the power of 2. It means the coefficient of it is 0. Then less than 1 power less than x power 2 is x power 1, which is just x. The coefficient of x is -12. Press equal again. The number along the constant is +7, so this is +7, and press equal. So this is the first solution, -3.725. This is the first solution, but this solution is not between 3 and 4. The other solution is here, 3.123. We can say, according to trial and improvement way, we can say 3.12 is the closest possible answer using this table? The answer here is x equals 3.12. This is the closest possible answer using this table. I hope you find it easy. Thank you for watching.